Good morning.
Today's presentation is on Poka-Yoke, which I'll get to what that means in a minute. But first, any shout outs? Right.
My kid is sick, and when he's sick, he sleeps with me. And I was able to put him back in his bed last night, and he slept on his own while being sick. Thank God. So I got a little bit of sleep.
Anybody else?
Nobody's done anything.
Ryan?
I'll shout Colin out for stepping up and putting together a meeting for resisting so hard, even with all of our bullying upstairs, trying to guilt him into doing it. It's still had to be pressured, but he's here this morning.
Chin Bushman.
How about a proper shout out for Morgan's 8 Waste poster?
Yeah.
I drew it myself, it wasn't a AI.
Really?
Shout out to the Kaizen table, that thing's come handy quite a few times in organizing my food. A lot of good little things in there to use.
Shout out to Chandler for creating an SOP.
Yeah. I'll shout out Nick and Terry. We're working on some wall control panels for the press, and they spent a great time this morning assembling them, and they have a few improvements that we can make on already. So, thanks, guys.
How about a shout out for Ahmad for volunteering to do a meeting?
No.
Yay. Not even his native language, guys.
I hope he does the whole thing in Arabic. Like he translates.
Hey, shout out to Chris Hamilton. I watched him nicely seal up that steel trailer last night and go through every single clip and make sure it was good. Thank you very much.
Chris.
Anything else? Poka-Yoke is a Japanese term that roughly translates to error proofing. It aims to make all processes so simple and foolproof that it eliminates all potential for defects caused by misunderstanding and eliminates waste right at their source. Benefits of Poka-Yoke are less mistakes, decreased waste, increased efficiency, and it makes your job easier. So if you're able to understand what you need to do right from the beginning and not need to ask people or mess things up, then all these things are benefits of that. Some common examples of Poka-Yoke are blind spot monitors and lane assist. They aim to prevent things like that from happening, either alerting you when you're out of the lane or even taking you back into your own lane. Lawnmower safety bar, they make sure you can't be running the mower and go and try to do something on the ground and accidentally cut yourself up. Or garage door sensors. If this one wasn't working properly, she would have just been crushed after she fell on the ground. Do you have any examples here? Things that are put in place to make sure you can't do something wrong?
In engineering, we can have things together with asymmetric slots so that you can't put a part in backwards if it was bent backwards, or if you have the wrong side, if you have a left, it can't put it on the right side. Or slider legs that ones, twos, and threes are all tapped differently, so that you can't put a two in a three spot.
SOPs,
Right.
jigs.
Yep.
The laser has stuff like auto gap, and if it notices something sticking up and it touches it, it'll pull off and not keep pushing through it.
Anything else?
Chris.
The lens man and like if you put a part through there and thickness. Oh, so that too thick, it'll hit it, and stop it.
The light curtain on the robot. Won't fit the table if there's someone in there.
Right.
Our new cleaning stations prevent you from putting your cleaning supplies back in one spots.
Our inspection process before everything goes out of code.
Yep. So here's some that I wanted to include on here: the roof rack shipping sheets, making sure that whoever's shipping roof racks knows what goes with it, so it's less likely to be shipped wrong. The light curtain on the brake press that slows everything down or stops it if you break that light curtain while it's moving. Production jigs and fixtures, like Kevin said. Roof rack bin dividers, which are these things that Ryan's been working on to make sure that all individual mounts for the roof racks go in their spot, and then whoever's shipping them just knows to grab one of each. and it's much easier for them to be able to ship it correctly. And then, like Alex said, tabs and slots and parts to make sure that there's only one way that things can go together and decreases the risk of doing it wrong. Implementing Poka-Yoke, you need to identify an area that's prone to mistakes and could benefit from some kind of procedure like this, and then come up with a solution that would make it more difficult to make these mistakes in the future. And then as far as implementing it, you need to either make the necessary changes or work with somebody who can if you're not able to, like if there's like a tab that needs to be added, get with one of the engineers or something like that. And then just regularly look over all the changes that have been made and make sure that they're actually benefiting. And if there's anything else that could be added to make things easier, move forward with that as well.
Oh, I got something to add to that. I was just thinking, I have a good example. There's Bronco tailgate reinforcement plates. Worked with customer service like 3 or 4 times because there wasn't a good way to graphically show what side the PEMs needed to be on. There's 16 holes that it raises the tire pattern up, and the top 8 holes need PEMs so that you can bolt the tire carrier back to the part, but the bottom 8 holes need to be passed through so that you can bolt it to the tailgate. And we kept PEMing the wrong side of the part, so the customer would get a thing and the PEM was lined up with the factory holes on the truck, but it wasn't lined up with the holes that they needed to bolt into. So we added a PEM sheet, and that helped for 1 or 2 jobs, and then depending on who was looking at the pressure or the PEM sheet, whether it was Chris Hamilton or Monty, they both had different perceptions of what that kind of the perspective of that image. So it was tough to locate which holes. So then I changed the hole size to try to make it harder to PEM the wrong hole. And then that led to one more final round of that thing getting shipped with the PEMs on the wrong side again. And finally, embarrassingly, it took way too long to get to this solution, but we changed the bolt holes that go to the tailgate into squares. Because then the PEM just literally couldn't go in even if you tried. So it took 3 rounds of attempting to Poka-Yoke and finally got something that is now I haven't heard about it. I mean, it's been a year probably, so.
Another small example would be tape on the floor. So anytime you can tape something and give it a location, you're error proofing it so that it can go back. Labeling is an example of Poka-Yoke. Obviously if something's labeled, you know where it goes back when you need to put it back. Visual indications help as well, but that's all a form of Poka-Yoke.
Any question? Okay. Monday is Travis with total ownership, followed by Chandler, John, Cole, and Ahmad.